Welcome to Eurovision Kiki. We're three Americans who have fallen in love with Eurovision. I'm Doug.
I'm Steven.
I'm Katie, and here on Eurovision Kiki, we're bringing you the best information about the Eurovision Song Contest.
We'll bring you the music, history, traditions,
And all the tea currently surrounding the world of Eurovision.
And thank you for joining us for another Eurovision Kiki. We are excited to talk a little bit about some post-Eurovision success for artists. Before we do that, let's take a pulse check. What's in the news for Eurovision?
Everything and nothing all at the same time, but really kind of everything. We're in the hazy phase of pre-Eurovision launch for 2025. So we're seeing a lot of countries that are starting to confirm their participation for 2025. Azerbaijan is one that recently announced, yep, we're in, we're coming back. All of the big five have announced that they will also be participating again. For me, the exciting one is that Montenegro has decided that they will be coming back after about a 2-year break from the Eurovision Song Contest. They made announcements through the representative of Montenegro that they will be selecting through what they call Montesong 2024. So their competition will be revving up here on the later half of 2024. So we may know by the end of this year or early next year who they select to represent Eurovision for 2025. I'm especially excited about it because I loved Vladana back in 2022.
Yes.
I thought her song was amazing. And so I'm stoked to see what they're going to bring.
I'm so glad you mentioned that because her song Breathe, amazing. And it's kind of one of those, you have such a good connection to a song and then the country doesn't come back and you're just, was it something she said?
What did they do wrong? I don't know.
So to see them coming back after that 2-year break is just really nice.
Yeah. That song to me will always hold a special place in my heart because it puts me not only in my feels, but the message about loss and breath. It hit really close. We'll get a little sappy for a quick second, but like as that song was coming out, we were nearing like the 1-year anniversary of a very dear friend of ours who lost his life. And that song just always makes me think of him and resonates to me. So it always just puts me in my feels. Whenever I hear that song, I just have to like pause for 3 minutes and get into the feelings.
Well, and for me, it's one of those songs that gives the goosebumps. It's very powerful. And I'm a little sad with her placement in Eurovision 2022. So maybe that's why Montenegro was just like, maybe we'll take a break. But she deserves so much better than that placement.
Yeah. Any other countries that we know of that like are or are not going to be jumping back into the ring?
So, big one, Kosovo was denied entry to Eurovision this year.
That's drama.
So,
that's messy drama.
It's very messy, and I am by no means a Balkan relations expert, but the EBU said that they were not allowed to participate because their broadcaster did not meet certain qualifications. Kosovo heavily protests this, and everyone who I've seen that talks about Eurovision that is also from Kosovo has said basically like the power of Serbia and their Russian backing kind of has denied them entry because Serbia does not recognize Kosovo as an independent nation, even though they declared independence in 2008. Just kind of a whole mess. So there's most of the G12 or whatever in the world recognizes Kosovo as an independent nation, and especially all of the European G12 countries do. But it's,
it feels a little bit, you can't sit with us.
I mean, for a song contest that says we're not political at all, that seems a little political when
Yes.
you think about the grand scheme of things. So I'm not super thrilled to hear this news.
Mhm.
I'm more bummed than anything, because one of the things that the EBU has recently stated is that they want to be more inclusive. They want
Yeah.
to allow other countries that maybe have never participated before the opportunity to do so. And this is the complete opposite of that.
Right.
So
We want to be
very
inclusive, but also just
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know, obviously behind the scenes how much sway Serbia has, because that does seem the most likely um kind of thing that happened, is Serbia saying, well, if Kosovo's in it, then we won't be in it because they are Serbia and there can't be two representatives of Serbia as far as they're concerned. But, I mean, for me, give another country a shot. And I mean, frankly, Serbia has not impressed me in the last couple of years, so I'd be fine with it.
Again,
Let's see
Loco
what
Loco
Kosovo can
is,
do.
yeah. Loco
Right.
Loco is literally one of the last times I was really on the Serbia bandwagon.
Yeah.
So I want to see it a little bit more diversified. I want to see some
Mhm.
countries that have never been involved or haven't been involved for a super long period of time jump back into the ring, and
Well, and
give us some
I think
variety.
we just want more songs, right? Like overall, it's more songs, it's more countries. This past 2 years, it's been 37.
Mhm.
Let's get back to 42 plus.
Yep.
While still excluding Russia.
Well,
and yeah, Russia
no.
and Belarus, you can't come to the party.
Sorry.
Stand. Stand.
But again, that's the kind of thing where it's like they're talking out of both sides of their mouth, the EBU and Eurovision, saying we're united by music. This is bigger than politics. It's the Olympics of music, while also making very clearly, to most people, politically motivated decisions about who's allowed to compete.
Veiled in rules.
Right.
Well, we're going to put
And yeah,
rules in quotes.
That are
I don't know
only
whatever fine
that are
print they found for Kosovo that says you don't meet this particular requirement. I didn't it's all legalese. It's over my head. I couldn't really parse what they were trying to say, but it was such a niche thing that I'm like, man, you really poured over that rule book to find
rules
any
that are
reason you could.
rules that are applicable to some but not all. Let's be
Mhm.
very selective in how we apply these rules to some people, while at the same time allowing other countries to continue to participate when they've done some pretty fucked up shit these last couple of years. So
Sand.
on that note,
Yes. So today we want to talk a little bit about post Eurovision success. And so why don't we start by kind of just taking a look at this year's group of individuals? So we've got 2024, the folks who have then gone on and put out more music, because really Eurovision is a platform. So we've talked about some of these artists before. We've talked about Don's and his new song Dark. We've talked about Luna and her new song Alive. Chills,
Great.
love that song.
So good.
such a good song.
Are there other artists that you guys follow specifically that you see new music from recently?
Cue Steven talking about baby lasagna for 5 minutes. Go ahead.
I mean, actually, I was not going to talk about baby lasagna, but we might as well go there. Yeah, I mean, he's got And I. He is rocking it over there in the European country. He's been touring a lot, very heavily, continuing to grow and build off of his fan base. So I've really been enjoying that. Jerry Heil is another one from Ukraine. I know that we talked about Virgin Maria, but lately she's also been coming out with some additional content as well and has been collaborating with a lot of folks. So her momentum since Eurovision is another one that I've been keeping a close eye on, because it's skyrocketing and it's elevating. So I'm enjoying some of the stuff that has been coming out from her recently.
I have to give a shout out to Electric Fields. On last week's episode, we mentioned they were up for some National Indigenous Music Awards over in Australia. And they won the language award for one of their songs that I'm not going to attempt because I do not know their First Nations language that it was sang in, and I don't want to butcher it. But they did win the language award for that category is for songs exclusively in First Nations languages, which is really cool. So good for them getting some of their recognition in Australia.
That's actually really cool to hear that they have had some success. Maybe it was not for their Eurovision song, but that's not what this is about. They've found a platform and they have been able to find that success promoting their vision. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Isaac's another one. I've been keeping some tabs on Isaac as well from Germany. I know that he's recently also started going on tour, so I know that he's been doing a lot of work as well, trying to get some new music out. So I'm thinking that we're going to be seeing some new songs coming from him in the coming weeks as well. Cool. So I'm excited about that.
And I just want to give a shout out to Aiko. She has her own album. It's iconic. I know I've mentioned it before, but I just find her sound to be very distinct. Like, you hear some songs, and I mean, artists these days, I'm like, is this Taylor Swift or somebody who just sounds like her? I have no idea. Whereas Aiko has a very her own sound, and I really appreciate that about her. I also like that she does Eurovision collabs with Austria from 2023. So huge shout out to her, and just enjoy where she's going and that she's on tour and she's just doing her thing. So any other artists that you may have seen in recent years? One I do want to mention is Subwoofer. They represented Norway in 2022. They were essentially a joke act. That's how they came together. Was, what if we did this song? What if we just put ourselves in costumes and no one knew who we were? And now they're putting out music after Eurovision. They just released very recently a song called Fish. So they're just having a good time with it, and you love to see it.
Tell me more about your feelings of that song in particular.
I don't love the song. I appreciate that they are still making music. I like some of their other music that they did post Eurovision. So, I mean, again, they're having fun with it. There's one that they did, I want to say around, it was either Thanksgiving or Christmassy vibes about eating grandma. So, you know, they're just having a good time with it, and so I appreciate that even a joke, quote unquote joke entry, or a That's So Eurovision, is still doing things today.
I love when the bit gets out of hand on some of these things, you know, like I just found out that Werewolves of London, that song from like whenever, you know it, was written because the artist was like, oh, look at this really bad B movie from like the 30s. What if I made this into like a pop hit? And it actually became one. And so like I just love when stuff like that happens, when people were like, oh, I was kidding, but might as well lean into it. Okay, this is great.
I don't know why you all like this, but sure, let's go with it.
Yeah.
All right, little piggies, here's some more slop.
Oh my gosh. Sam Ryder is another one post Eurovision that has continued as well. Earlier this year he released another song, Back in Love, that really kind of just enhances his musical talents and what the variety that he's able to bring. So much so too, his success started in one spot and it's just continued to elevate to another. And as a result of it, a lot of UK fans, at least, are hoping that Sam Ryder will consider competing again for the United Kingdom, especially after Ali Alexander's stint this year. People are more in like, let's throw Sam Ryder back in this now that
Yeah.
he's had a couple of years off and he's really established himself, and bring it back to us.
Maybe unpopular opinion, but how did his song do as well as it did? Oof. I thought it was
Really?
very rough. Again, unpopular opinion apparently. I have no idea how he got third.
He got
It's just
second.
Second, I mean, come on. That's
even worse for you.
even worse. Sorry. Thanks for the reminder.
Yeah. It's like there's a reason why it was in the UK for 2023 because he was the runner-up.
I think that you know, the juries and the voters are so different year to year. Like
That's
it's so interesting to even go back, like thinking about well, I would say 2023, but we already, have thoughts on who won and why. But speaking of, Laureen has a huge reach. Like she has 9.2 million monthly listeners on Spotify. She has a huge career. But I think going back to previous years, even when you do agree with the winner, like in hindsight, you're like, wait, why was this song lost in the shuffle? Like it just like you kind of listen to things with different ears as time goes on. So
No, that's
I
true.
think
It's
it's
kind of like a
so interesting.
longevity.
Yeah.
In the moment, did people like the song? Apparently.
Yeah.
Does it hold up? I'll let
Right.
folks decide.
I'm
Right.
trying to understand. It was even just this week. I don't know if it was you, Katie, or if it was other Katie that sent it to me on Instagram. She's come out with yet another version of Tattoo, and it's just one of those. It's this.
Did we ask for that?
Did we ask
let
for
it
it?
go.
Did we ask for it? Number one. Number two. Can you please provide us something else that is not Tattoo?
Go ahead, girl. Give us nothing.
And I appreciate Laureen as a musical artist.
Mhm.
I also just want to see something else after
Yes.
a year and a half. So
Oh.
that's just my feeling. But I am also, me, I'm a fan of repetition, so I will just continue to listen and watch over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And we will put up with the abuse, I guess, for a little longer.
Yes.
I say if we're talking about who's found global success, you can't not talk about Maneskin because they were on SNL. They've gotten AMA nominations, Brit Awards. They were at Coachella. They
did a song for the Elvis movie soundtrack, did they not?
Yes, I believe so. And so they've kind of really taken off, and so it's great to see them find so much success after that win in 2021.
Yeah. We're also, and I think we're going to jump into this here shortly, but now we're also starting to see some of these artists get a little bit more adventurous, if you will. They're starting to jump into the US pool. We've got Daddy Fryer, we've got Used, we've got Windows 95 Man, all three publicly making it known that they are or will soon be coming to the US to begin launching some tours here or musical promotions. So where do we start with that?
Yeah, I find it really cool that they are able to have a large enough audience for them to come to the United States and to come to some of these cities. Now, these are still going to be the major cities. We're talking LA, Chicago, New York. So it's still the big major ones. So unfortunately, nothing near Seattle for me, nothing near Denver for you all. But it is really cool to see. And I know that Dottie, he said that he was playing a Lollapalooza, and my first reaction was, I didn't know that was still a thing.
Throwback.
Throwback to that. Yeah. Well, right. And I saw...
Yeah, no, Lollapalooza is still huge.
I did see, Chappelle Ronan and Kesha. Hello, they were just there. Bless it.
So he's able to be, alongside some of these big U.S. names.
Yes. I was looking at some of his tickets because I saw that he was going to be performing in Las Vegas, but I'm old. I work. I can't I can't sacrifice a Tuesday night to go to one of those concerts because
In
I'm going to suffer the
Vegas.
next day in
Yeah.
Vegas. Yeah. Like, ask
You
me
know
20
you're a
years
certain age
ago.
when, dot, dot,
Yeah.
dot.
Ask me 20 years ago and I would have been all over it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, I have you to blame, Stephen, for introducing Dottie to me.
you're
Mhm.
welcome.
This was before I had watched some of the previous years, so I didn't know. And then when we were in Sweden, you were like, "You have to see this performance." And then I can't get enough of his music. He has some of his other songs. I'm Not Bitter, Outside. Like he's just having fun with it, and he doesn't
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
himself too seriously. And I think that's what I appreciate about him, and knowing that he is one of the many artists who got shut out of 2020 because, well, COVID, it didn't
Mhm.
happen. And then for him to be able to come back and do another song in 2021, we could argue which one of those is better. I do think his
I love
2020
10
song.
years. I love 10 years.
I
love
love
it.
10 years. Even Roger brings it up in conversations sometimes. He
Yeah.
speculates that if 2020 did happen, they would have taken the crown and we
Oh.
probably would have had Eurovision in Iceland in 2021.
Mhm.
I think that there is a strong chance because
I think
even if you
that's-
look
yeah.
at some of the betting odds from that year, I believe he was the top going into the
Like
cancellation.
far and away favored.
Yeah. Because I also listened to Stefania's song for 2020, Supergirl for Greece, and I have feelings about her establishment between 2020 and 2021. I don't think she would have made it if she sang Supergirl in 2020.
Wow.
Yeah. So, my own personal feelings. It's a good song, but I don't think it would have carried her as far as Last Dance did.
I mean, some of these artists are definitely they got a second chance, which was
Mhm.
great.
Some countries got a second chance altogether because they were like, you're out, you're in.
Yes, and there was Russia. They replaced their, but that was also the artist who said we want to give somebody else the opportunity. We don't want to take this. They had already found success. So, what's their song? Uno.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, Uno from 2020 is a banger, and I think that one would have also done very well.
Yeah.
But they did find post Eurovision success, so they basically said, give somebody else the platform. We have what we needed from this.
Yeah. I feel like we could do an entire episode about Russia, if I'm being perfectly honest, because
man.
for that, I mean, for
Complicated history.
the complicated history as well as their last entry in 2021 was surprising in the fact that, it had to do with women's rights and standing up against some of the political chaos that they face on a regular basis. And then little did we know that was going to be the last time we would be seeing Russia in the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I'll separate Vladimir Putin from the rest of Russia for a bit because a lot of Russian nationals do not like what is happening in Russia either.
yeah. So we have to kind of that'll be its own episode one of these days.
Yeah, man.
So you're saying that there's politics in Eurovision? That's
What? Who would have
I
thunk
had
it?
no idea.
That's why I loved in this year's broadcast with I forget what the context of it was, but it was like saying like, and of course we're apolitical. And it's just like, and everybody is in on the joke because everyone knows that it's not.
Yes.
Like, it's just one of those things that's like, yeah, that's funny because we all know.
Yeah. No, it was one of the song skits that Petra did
Yeah.
in the song contest, and she said something to the extent of like, "And we're not political at all." But she had the little wink wink on camera where she's like,
Yeah.
that's
Totally
bullshit.
apolitical.
So, yes. So let's bring it back. One other country that I do want to mention, or represented Norway in 2023, was Alessandra. She has had, I believe, a a good amount of post Eurovision success. She has put out several songs, including "Narcissist." She has a song "Marameo," which she did in Italian. So she represented Norway. She's doing a song in Italian.
Well, she is Italian. I don't know how she represented Norway. That's one of those weird things, like
They
Celine
called her
Dion
up and said,
representing Switzerland.
"Honey, get in. We're going to Eurovision."
Get in, loser. We're competing in Eurovision.
Right?
Oh my gosh, that's so funny because I just got this sticker that says, "Get in, loser. We're going caring." So anyway.
So she has this song in Italian, and she just very recently put it out, an English version. So it's nice to finally understand the words without having to look them up. But it runs a theme of her music. Her music is very empowerment. You don't need a man. You're like, he can kick rocks, you know?
Well, yeah, especially after her like coming out and everything. I think she's bisexual, if I'm not mistaken.
Question mark?
I believe that's how that's how she identifies or whatever. But I will say her first single post Eurovision, Pretty Devil, made it instantly onto playlists of mine. It's
for sure.
Such a bop.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I think that is accurate because that was her coming out song, or she had a specific coming out song, and it was also her way of letting her family know, like, by the way.
Yeah. And so she like showed the music video to her dad, and he was like, "Cool, good for you," which is the appropriate response.
Absolutely.
So
I would be remiss if we did not also bring up Katia, because
of course.
he is somebody too that he's been hustling, but has thrown out so many post Eurovision songs after Cha Cha Cha. We've got his most recent one, which we talked about, Traffic with Use, but then there was also Kot Kot. We've got It's Crazy, It's Party, which is a song that also lives rent free in my head, especially when I don't want to deal with the nonsense that's going on around me. I just start going, it's crazy, it's party, and then kind of just going da 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 da.
Yeah, it's crazy, it's party is definitely a phrase that is in like it's part of my brain rot. Like I'll just say it and not realize that no one else knows what I'm talking about.
No one else understands the reference, and that's okay.
It's crazy, it's party.
It's crazy, it's party. That's all that matters. And I'm still actually shocked he hasn't decided to do anything here in the U.S. I feel he had. If Used is going to be coming to the U.S., why is Katia not? Because that is a concert I would probably seek out to.
Yeah,
and he definitely has a large fan base. You can see it in his Instagram stories with just the audience there, and they are having the time of their lives. And I would love to be in that audience. I mean, I'm probably a little too old for that jumping up and down, and
I'll be in the back.
I mean, I'll also say just my algorithm and the amount of fan pages of his that come up, it's insane. Like I think that he has so many different fan pages that will just pop up in my feed, and it's like, oh yeah, you do have a lot of adoring fans.
Well, I think that proves that you don't have to win Eurovision to be successful, and even if you do win Eurovision, we may not even remember you 5 years from now. So it is not necessarily about winning; it's about finding that success, fan base, finding your niche.
I truly
Making
feel
an impression.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. I feel as though Eurovision gives many artists this opportunity to not only make an impression, but now you've been given this platform, and it's up to them to decide how mainstream they want to go or how further they want to excel within their musical career. Some people jump right on board and others just don't, or others try and for some reason it just doesn't hit like it did for their 15 minutes on Eurovision. Eleni from Cyprus has recently said, after Fuego, I don't know what more I can give. If this is all people are going to remember me by, and this is all I can do, I'm okay with that. I'll continue to come back every year and sing it again and again and again, just so that people can enjoy that. But other than that, I don't know what else musically I can do to further enhance where I'm at. And so she's made that choice.
Well, and they still have the Eurovision, the tour. And so some of these artists, like, that is what they do, is they've got their song, and you remember for them for that one song.
They're going to go on tour with it.
They're going to be on tour every year with that song. Emily, what's her last name? Denmark.
What year?
2013.
Oh, winner from Eurovision.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's still doing. She's going to be on the tour for the Eurovision tour. So she.
Well, now they've got a cruise ship too.
She's still rocking her song. And I
didn't know about the cruise.
Yeah, there's like a cruise ship now that you can get on board with. I don't remember which.
Yeah.
I don't remember which cruise ship it is. But they've recently announced that as well. It's like, hey, get on the Eurovision cruise ship and let's go.
Well, I appreciate the artists who embrace their song. We want to hear them play that song for the rest of their lives. And so some of these artists who just lean into it and say, yes, here you go.
Right after we just talked about how Loreen, go ahead, girl, give us nothing, but just another version of Tattoo.
But see, the thing is, I don't. This is where we have like the That's So Eurovision, but she's the serious That's So Eurovision.
Right.
So
we're very selective of those that we want.
You have to be able to lean into it.
It's. I'm just gonna say it's giving EBU.
Oh, touche. Point taken, but also
we're just as contradictory as the EBU.
No.
It's fine. It's fine.
I don't think Loreen is in on the joke.
She's not.
She's not.
Like she doesn't understand why no one's laughing, and it's because she's taking herself too seriously. She's not in on it.
Yeah.
If she was traveling and playing that song and just embracing, but she's just coming out with remixes going like my new song.
I think part of the thing with Loreen is that she won in 2012. So if she was still going around with Euphoria and honestly like came out with a new remix of Euphoria this year or whatever, then that would be more like some of these artists who are like, yeah, I'm good now. But because she then came back and had a new song, it's like you're giving some mixed signals. Do you want to actually like do the music industry thing and give us new songs and do a bunch of new stuff? Or do you want to sing the same song over and over and love that song and like you love it as an artist, but like you've done this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's weird to come back and do it with a different song and then that be where you stake your claim for me.
Yes, I think that is a good summary. And we will stop picking on Loreen, I promise.
For this week.
For the moment.
I give no promises. Sorry.
Another artist I did want to mention, Michael Schulte from Germany in 2018, came in 4th. He has a song with Rehab, who, if you're in like EDM or dance music at all, they're a pretty big name. So the song is Waterfall, and that's definitely one of the ones where I was like, oh, that guy was in Eurovision? No way. Like, so yeah, and he's got I've just decided to like look up monthly listeners on Spotify, and he has 4.9 million monthly listeners. So he also has done pretty well for himself.
Now timeline wise, was the Eurovision a platform, or was it I'm already established and I'm going to take part in Eurovision?
I didn't look too much into like what his full discography was. I think he had a couple songs out before the 2018 Eurovision,
Okay.
but I do think that I mean, being able to like work with a global name like Rehab or something, I don't think happens if you don't have some sort of global reach. And I don't know that he necessarily had it before.
So Eurovision was his ability to elevate.
I think so, yeah.
It's fair.
That's what I didn't do a whole deep dive on his history, of
Yeah,
course, but that is
sure.
like, that is something that he has a lot of success after Eurovision.
But I think that brings up this interesting point of are folks using Eurovision to raise their platform or as their first exposure?
Mm.
It could be both.
Well, and that's where it makes me think of Tattoo. They came out with their song "All the Things She Said."
Right.
Well, yeah, when we say tattoo, we mean the quote unquote
the artist.
lesbians from Russia.
TATU.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody had their poster in their dorm room in 2002. 2002. Gosh, that was 22 years ago. Oh my God.
Yeah, I didn't have a dorm room in 2002. I was in 4th grade.
Okay. Enough.
Oh.
The shade that is being thrown right now is obscene.
Reading is fundamental.
Girl, you reading.
But so they came out with their song, All the Things She Said,
Mm-hmm.
and then that spring they did Eurovision with a different song. Mm-hmm. So I think for them it was, we found some success, we're going to utilize Eurovision to sort of stake that claim and use it to help grow.
And that's how I think Olivia Newton-John, with her Eurovision appearance in 1974, she already had, some things under her belt. But, I mean, who knows? Do we think she would have gotten in Greece without Eurovision? Probably. But, so it's
she
like
did
she
compete
already
in a tough
was. Yeah, that was a pretty tough year against ABBA, but
nobody was gonna beat ABBA.
But yeah, she had some of her own prior success, but I'm sure that helped build her up a little bit too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think too, we could also look at Johnny Logan, because after Johnny Logan won Eurovision, his clout also skyrocketed to the point that they're like, bring him back. Let's see if he can do it again. And then sure enough, he did. And then it's like, let's get him to write some songs now and see if that takes us somewhere. And sure enough, it did. He's got 3 trophies under his belt because of where Eurovision helped him launch his career. So,
well, I think he also understood the market, right? Like, he knows what is a successful Eurovision song, and so he was able to say, don't worry, guys, I got this.
Yeah, he's got the recipe down.
Before there was Chat GPT and AI, they would just go to him and be like, Johnny Logan, write us a song that meets all of the requirements for Eurovision under 3 minutes and talks about this. Ready, set, go. And he's like, I got you. Don't worry.
I got you. So, any other artists or any other shout outs we want to give to folks from Eurovision's past?
I think my last one, and I know that we've talked about him before because we literally got to see him during semifinal 1 with Benjamin Ingrosso this past year, but that's another man. At this point, we should probably just bring Brian onto an episode so that he can spend 30 to 45 minutes telling us how in love he is with this man. But another one who has really taken the Eurovision platform to launch his career and has continued to just throw music out there for everybody to see, while also posting softcore porn pics on his Instagram to get all the thirst traps.
Boop.
Boop.
Well, and I will say that I did not like his Eurovision song. I'm going to be that person, but I do appreciate his post Eurovision music. And that is an example to me of an artist who just, thank you for putting out more music so I could see what you were capable love, and now I can actually appreciate you as an artist.
Yeah, and thank you, music industry, for giving him the glow up that he needed, because I'm right there with you. 2018, not a great song, but it never fails that somehow Sweden always gets through, regardless of whether or not it is or isn't a good song.
Because, you know, Swedish pop, I'm all for it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I do love Swedish pop and Swedish pop stars generally.
My algorithm is just 100% Swedish pop. And anytime I'm like, ooh, this song's fun. Who's it by? And then I'm like, oh, yeah, no, that makes sense. Swedish pop.
Another Swedish artist.
Another Swedish artist that's on the rise, and we'll probably see them at Melody Festival this year.
Right.
And then Lollapalooza.
Yep.
And Lollapalooza. Who knew that was still a thing? Not trying to be a hater. I just haven't heard anybody mention Lollapalooza since I was like in college.
Since it was like the late 90s for me, so.
Right.
That'll do it for this episode. Thanks for listening. If you would like to support the show, please subscribe and rate us and give us a share. You can also follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Eurovision Kiki, and you can get in touch with us at eurovisionkiki@gmail.com. Thanks again, and we'll see you at the next Kiki.